Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is?
Guess what day it is? Huh?
Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Magnificent bastard.
I read your book.
I drink your milkshake.
How dare you?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch.
Captain.
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 Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain. Captain.
No, not yet. Not yet. Don't pass out on me yet. Of course you realize this means war.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Welcome, people. Welcome, one and all. An amazing show tonight. This is it. This is the final show from California, the final show from Sacramento, California for the SHR Media Network. So I say this one final time from here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I'm still broadcasting this final time behind enemy lines in occupied California, always spelled with a K, but no longer from downtown Sacramento in the original SHR Media studios. Instead, my voice emanates for the final time from the South Sacramento area, pending my final move to a free state in 1 week. Be forewarned, what you're about to hear for the next 2 hours consists of my opinion and no one else's. So, the Saloon is serving stiff drinks, facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, tradition, intent, and common sense. Remember, we don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversation, politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the Saloon, where the speech is free but the booze is not. In 2022, I am done with bipartisanship and compromise. I love my country, but I have to tell you this. I abjure its leftist leaders and anybody who doesn't put America and her lawful citizens first. Obey the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, uphold the rule of law, and embrace due process. Democrats, leftists, and the American media maggots say that makes me a white supremacist, terrorist, extremist. But you know what? As I say the final time in this studio, if loving my country makes me an extremist, then so be it. It's St. Patrick's Day. Everybody's going to tell, I would expect, an Irish joke. No, let's start off with Russian jokes. Oh, stop. Let's start off with this Russian
I
joke.
have a new hobby. I am collecting stories that I can actually prove are told among the Russian people. They make them up themselves, they tell them between themselves, reveals they got a great sense of humor, and they've also got a little cynical attitude about things in their country. The story was an American and a Russian arguing about their two countries, and the American said, look, in my country, I can walk into the Oval Office, I can pound the president's desk and say, Mr. President, I don't like the way you're running our country. And the Russian said, I can do that. The American said, you can? He says, yes. I can go into the Kremlin, to the General Secretary's office, pound his desk and say, Mr. General Secretary, I don't like the way President Reagan's running his country. I didn't tell this one to Gorbachev. You know, there's a 10-year delay in the Soviet Union of delivery of an automobile. And you go through quite a process when you're ready to buy, and then you put up the money in advance. This man, he laid down his money, and then the fellow that was in charge said to him, okay, come back in 10 years and get your car. And he said, morning or afternoon? And the fellow behind the counter said, well, 10 years from now, what difference does it make? And he said, well, the plumber's coming in the morning.
Classic Reagan.
Less than one family out of 7 in the Soviet Union owns an automobile. Most of the automobiles are driven by the bureaucrats. So an order went out one day to the police that anyone caught speeding, anyone, no matter who, gets a ticket. Well, Gorbachev came out of his country home, his dacha. He was late getting to the Kremlin. There was his limousine and driver waiting. He told the driver to get in the back seat, he'd drive, and down the road he went. They passed 2 motorcycle cops. One took out after him. And pretty soon he's back with his buddy, and his buddy says, well, did you give him a ticket? And he said, no. Well, he said, why not? Oh, he said, it's too important. Well, he said, we're told to give anybody a ticket, no matter who it is. Oh, he said, no, this one was, Well, he said, who was it? He said, I couldn't recognize him, but his driver was Gorbachev. One of the heads of state that I met with on this visit told me the story about the 2 fellows in the Soviet Union who were walking down the street, and the one of them says, have we really achieved full communism? Is this it? Is this now full communism? And the other one said, oh, hell no, things are going to get a lot worse.
And that's why do
99.
Oh, shut up. Why do the standard jokes about the Irish today? Let's do something else. Oh, while we're at it, let's also start with this.
The Bloviating Zeppelins HeyJackass.com Chicago Death Toll Update. Courtesy of Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
And that is from HeyJackass.com. HeyJackass.com, illustrating Chicago values. Courtesy of the wondrous and luscious mayor, Lori Lightfoot, in Chicago, who, oddly enough, was stealing cultural. She was appropriating cultures recently. Anyway, the Chicago death toll. March to date, shot and killed 15, shot and wounded 97, total shot 112, total homicides 16. Weed in progress, March 13th to March 19th, shot and killed 5, shot and wounded 41, total shot 46, total homicides 5. Year to date, shot and killed 103, shot and wounded 406, total shot 509, total homicides 111. So, according to the 2022 Chicago shot clock, a person is shot every 3 minutes and 34 seconds in the city of Chicago. And in Chicago, a person is murdered every 16 minutes and 21 seconds. Yay, Lori.
The Bloviating Zeppelins HeyJackass.com Chicago Death Toll Update. Courtesy of Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
So while we're here, let's do this.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
Have I got a couple of happy stories for you? Since I'm leaving California, let's begin in California. For those people left behind the curtain, so to speak. Let's start. I have two stories about California. Let's start with this one. California parents would have to tell schools about guns at home under this law. So California is pending another law where a California State Senate bill would require parents of school students to report any firearms in their homes if passed. SB 906, authored by Democrat Senator Anthony Porrentino from La Cañada, was introduced past Tuesday, and he penned the proposed law, which aims to keep track of what guns students may have access to in their household in response to a recent rise in school shootings in the state. Well, it's funny. This is back on February 3rd, and I don't remember a whole host of school shootings. It's just time to know where all of your guns are, courtesy of your students. And do you think some leftist students are going to rat out their parents? My guess would be definitely yes. Hey, look who's on the line. Is it Ken McCLENTON? Are you there, sir?
I am here, sir. It is an honor and a joy to be on your program, BC.
Well, thank you very much. I've got one more great California story to read, and then I want to go and hear about your day. Here's a second story about California. This is going to go really well. And if it does go well, obviously it's going to
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Keep the nation. What is it? Here's a headline. Billions of genetically modified mosquitoes may swarm California. As many as 2 billion mosquitoes will be released in California to help combat mosquito-borne diseases such as yellow fever, dengue, and Zika. Now, this just came out 7 days ago. So they're going to do this very, very, very soon. A swarm of 2 billion genetically modified mosquitoes could soon buzz across California, always spelled over the K, to help combat an invasive mosquito species known to spread diseases such as dengue, chikungunya, Zika, and yellow fever. I hope I pronounced that one right. I'm not sure. This is what's crazy. The U.S. EPA approved this pilot project in California and Florida. Okay, I don't feel so bad. We're sharing the craziness with Florida. To use non-biting, genetically edited male Aedes aegypti mosquitoes to help combat disease-transmitting mosquitoes of the same type. Ken McCLENTON, welcome to the show. Do you think this will go well, when you're screwing with Mother Nature?
Well, I just want to say, I actually went on a date with one of those mosquitoes, and I found out that it wasn't a female, it was a male. So I just want to let everyone know that quirkiness that's going on with that biological stuff. You got to be careful. You got to be careful.
That's true. But on the other hand, because of that, wasn't it winning all kinds of swimming awards?
Well, yeah, and in fact, that mosquito, he, she, it, they, them, there, and all of the above. That mosquito actually was nominated to be Woman of the Year for Newsweek. Came in second, but obviously, someone was biased and opinionated, and there will be a hate crime that comes out of it.
And they kill things for everybody. What sticks in the mud? Well, folks, we're going to go into this. I've got a ton of great stories that perhaps you have heard. I would guess mostly you have not. I invited Ken here tonight because Ken was here at the start, and Ken is here at the end. And I'll get into that in just a bit. But for those of you who may be new to the show, Ken McCLENTON, tell people who you are, sir, and where you can be found and heard, and tell folks about your very own TV broadcast channel.
Almost certainly. I'm the guy you envision being on the posters of the most efficient and effective U.S. postal centers in America. I'm Ken McCLENTON. I'm the host of the Exceptional Conservative Show. Also chairman, president, founder, TECN-TV.com. And I'm so thankful to have had the experience working with BZ and all of the others at SHR over the years. It is a sad as well as a great celebratory thing that SHR is moving out of California. The unfortunate thing is that they may actually change some of the politics in wherever they're going. So, you got to be careful. But enough said in terms of that. Quite frankly, it is a great joy to be with you tonight, BZ, as we come to an end of an era. And we just want to know, do you have your papers?
It's a funny thing, and we laugh about that, but as Mrs. BZ and I were starting to get together, folks, if you haven't moved in your 7th decade, I want to tell you, it's a lot of fun. Number one, you can't move all the crap that you did physically when you were 30. The last time I moved was into my house in 1993 up in Alta, California. I was about at the 4,000-foot level. And I moved from my house down on Marial Drive in Sacramento in one truck with a lift gate by myself. Loaded everything in the house by myself, put it in the truck by myself, took it all out of the truck by myself into my new cabin at the 4,000-foot elevation. And I can distinctly remember that was July 4th. It was warm. I had no fans with me, hadn't assembled the bed, and where I slept was on the carpet surrounded by all my boxes. Welcome to your new camp. So these days, am I moving? No. For the past, let me put it this way. Am I moving well and easy? And the answer is no. In my 7th decade, not quite so much. And that's how long I've had that house. It sold. But for the past year and a half, Mrs. BZ and I have been agonizing over how to move, where to move, who to contact. It's been a logistical nightmare. And when you begin to move, you realize just how much GURP you've acquired in the intervening years. But here's the difference. I had an entire household. I had an entire house up there in the Sierra Nevada mountains. My wife had an entirely separate house down here in Sacramento. So now, in my 7th decade, and after years and years at our distinct houses, this will be the first time we've put everything together, 2 homes into one household, and it's a raging clusterfuck to try to suss out what you're going to keep, what you're going to throw away, what you want people to take, what you're going to donate, all of that. So we have had, I haven't had a vacation since 2019, and we certainly haven't done anything but agonize over moving since, like I say, about a year and a half. It would be 2020 we started investigating, and now we're finally here to the day. We're going to be moving, let's see, what is today, the 17th? We're going to be moving next week on Friday, and then that's it. We're gone.
Congrats, man.
We are gone, and then the interesting stuff really starts to happen to try to figure out how we're going to fit all this stuff in a 1,900-square-foot home, when we had 2 1,200-square-foot homes to try to stuff all of our stuff, so to speak. It's going to be interesting, but at least perhaps a little bit of weight will fall off our shoulders. I want to talk politics tonight, and Ken, again, thank you for being here. The reason I invited Ken is...
Can I just say this to you, BZ?
Oh, please.
If you had just put Hunter Biden crack pipe on the outside of each of those boxes, I assure you they would have been moved.
Oh my gosh! Yes, or I could have written on the outside of each box, Biden's cash, and I'm sure it would have remained unopened, moved rapidly with great ceremony, all of that. This is a bittersweet show for me. I'm going to try to not let it be maudlin, although it's going to be a little difficult. So I've got, like normal, I've got just a ton of things to talk about tonight. I won't get to but a percentage of them, I'm sure. And I don't want to make it all about just the move. I don't want to make it all about wrapping the show, although, I will make it about that. But the reason I wanted to have Ken on is because Ken was here at the beginning of SHR, which has gone through a whole bunch of twists and turns, and I wanted Ken to be here for the end of SHR in the state of California. So that's why I'm appreciative to Ken for being here tonight, sir.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very glad to be here. The history of SHR is immense, impacting, and certainly historical in its own right. Some people can never appreciate something until it's completely gone. And with you all leaving California, someday there will be a Republican out there that says, you know what, in the annals of history, if it were not for SHR, we may not have ever had an opportunity to have a Republican in California. You all have done a tremendous job spreading the good news of life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness to so many people. And it's not always done with a kind, gentle expression, but often it's enough for the moment to change people's minds and hearts.
Well, and I will never stop doing that. You were here, I hesitate to say way before I was. What happened with me is I retired in 2016. Mm-hmm. And when that occurred in 2016, I'll be the first to admit I was not ready for retirement. I had not prepared myself adequately mentally to retire.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
I happened to find the SHR Media Studios, and I talked to Sean, and I talked to Clint, and they invited me on the show. And the show was the Sackheads radio show. And what a lot of people didn't know was it's called the Sackheads radio show because all the people involved, myself and as well, were in law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And especially 5-6 years before that, I would call into various radio shows. You're not really supposed to have an opinion, so I became BZ, the Bloviating Zeppelin. And I have never used my true name on social media, and I never will. Just now, it's a matter of tradition. But before that, I didn't need all the crap that comes along with that particular package. And neither did Sean, and neither did Clint. Clint works for a local big state agency, and Sean worked for law enforcement in Boston. But none of us used our names, so that's where Sackheads Radio came from, wearing a sack on our head. Well, you were here before me. I only got here in middle 2016, and like I said before, they let me into the studio, and I would pipe up every now and then. And I didn't actually get my own show until January 17th of 2017. But I would Bigfoot the Sackheads radio show, and because I had met you already at the Freedom Fest in Las Vegas, that's where I met Ken McCLENTON, and you were kind enough to allow me to be on your show and come in and talk for 15, 20 minutes or so on your show. And that's kind of why I say I will never be less than incredibly grateful for your kindness in letting me do that, in letting me onto your shows and giving me a megaphone and a way to speak.
Well, you are a voice of reckoning, and your voice proclaims the best of what life and liberty and freedom are all about. And it's an endearing one, and one that needs to be heard often throughout America. It was a great joy meeting you out in Vegas. When you pulled up your car and you rolled down your window and you threw that quarter out at me, I really appreciated the fact that you were showing me some love and affection. And when you told me to go get a job, I really appreciated that even more. You were an encouragement to me. We had a wonderful time.
It's all about together. Yeah, it's all about the motivation. And I told the story where I tried to motivate you. It's all about the Sackheads motivating me because for Freedom Fest, they flew first class from Sacramento to Las Vegas to attend Freedom Fest. Ken knows this story. And so what happened? Well, what they said is if you want your own show, bucko, what you'll do is you'll open up your Kraut car and load all of the stuff that we want to take into the car, and you'll drive there. And you'll like it, and you'll be happy in the 110-degree August heat from Sacramento, California, down to Las Vegas, Nevada, where no one in their right mind goes outside in the summer. And then I had to set it up as best I could. So, and I got to carry their luggage as well. Extra bonus, extra added attraction. So I was extremely grateful for that. But your history, Ken McCLENTON, starts way before me. Do you remember about roughly kind of sort of what year it was? See, the dealio, folks, is that Ken McCLENTON was part of the SHR Media Network. And then Ken broke out and created TECN, and now he's got his own channel, etc. But at one point, lots of fingers were pointed at each other, and a lot of ribbing was done, and Ken was originally part of the SHR Media Network. So, do you remember about what year that was, Ken?
It was probably about 2014, 2015 that I came on board with Sean and Clint. And the thing is, I was recommended Sean and Clint by Mary Brockman. Mary Brockman said, you got to listen to Sean and Clint after your show ends at 11 o'clock. So I would turn you guys on. I was like, well, not literally. Well, maybe. No.
Get out of my head, you bad guy.
So I would listen, and then eventually I called in one day and disguised my voice so that no one would know me, and I was acting like a total idiot. And Sean was breaking up, and Clint as well. They were rolling. You could hear them as they were snickering and laughing, and it was my introduction to them. In terms of that, so I would come on, and Sean once said, "Ken, you come on like you're that guy on meds. You do stuff on you do that stuff on my show that you wouldn't dare do on your show." So I was comedy relief for them, and it was a great relief for me because people tune in to my show, and it's. There's some laughter, but there's a lot of, sophisticated conversation and nuances and things of that particular nature. So many people take me as a very, very serious, highbrow individual. So going on the Sackheads and acting like an idiot was one of the most great joys I had in my entire life. I enjoyed working with you all. And there was a character I did called Christy. I can't think of the last name.
Dave Milner knows. Dave Milner's in chat. Dave Milner's in chat right now, and Dave Milner says, hey, BZ, tell Ken that I still have a recording of Lusty Dominique from back in the day. So that wouldn't be who you're talking about, would it?
Not exactly the one. Dave, thank you for reminding me. Oh, I'm so glad.
Well, Dave is just doing you a favor. He's simply doing you a favor. Hey, folks, I'm going to have to take a break. This is the final show. I'm BZ. That's Ken McCLENTON, one each. And we'll be right back after this. Don't go away. Pretty please. Okay, thank you.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, are you guys listening? This is Shannon from Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media. I know you've been wondering where we are and what's been going on. Well, folks, that's right. We're back. So please join us 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday on SHR Media, on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and Facebook Live at 11 a.m. on Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM at Facebook. You don't want to miss a minute. We've got lots of guests, lots of segments, and lots of interesting things. And let's face it, there's nowhere for you to go, so you might as well tune in. Again, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. We're back live on the air on SHR Media, 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday, audio and Facebook Live, audio and video. Yes, we are going to do video. Facebook Live, Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Hope to see you soon.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
Unleashed Jeremy Hansen, the most explosive pro-American podcast on the planet. Pro-MAGA, pro-Trump, pro-conservative. Come join the resistance. Fight for what really matters in America. 5 p.m. Central on UJHLive.com, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Pandora, or MAGAbook.com. Come join the resistance and fight for America. Unleashed Jeremy Hansen.
Do you value yourself, your family, your friends? Want to know more about how to survive, thrive, and stay alive in these dynamic times? Listen to Around the Campfire with Kate, Thursday nights and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Central, only on PSN TV. That's Around the Campfire with Kate. News that nobody in the MSM wants to report. Remember, train hard, train smart to survive, thrive, and stay alive.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. You know, you can listen to the show live and jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room by going to shrmedia.com, shrmedia.com.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, if you're on your phone or your tablet, go down to the bottom of the screen and hit View Web Version. And from there, click on Listen Live or Chat at the top. And, hey, create a name, have fun, chat away. Go to shrmedia.com. That's where we are right now. And I have, I'm speaking to KEN McCLENTON tonight. So, Ken, thank you ever so kindly for being here, because you just got through with your show. And it's 8:30, what the heck, 8:32 right now on the far left coast. And it's 11:32 in D.C., where you are. So thank you for staying up so late tonight. I really appreciate it, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I'm also producing right now Beyond the Lines with Tiffany Jones. So I'm multitasking with you, sir. And it just goes to show that the original suitcase holder for Sean and Clint was a little bit brighter than most people thought.
But, well, at least we know one thing. You can multitask like nobody's business. I was going to, I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I am really torn. I've got a ton of stuff to talk about in terms of politics. I've got a bunch of audio cuts. And here's the strange thing. I have to be honest. Yeah. After I retired, I've told this to Sean, and that show, your show, you, he, Clint, allowing me to be on the air, to a degree saved me. And perhaps people are wondering, what happened is that after I retired, that's 41 years gone. And I went from being somebody in my field of some import where lots of people, I was supervising tons of people in a law enforcement venue, to the next day, I wasn't worth cat piss in my mind. And 2016, right after that, wasn't all that great. And I had to try to, I had no more given any kind of consideration to what to do at retirement than the man at the moon. And that's a big, big problem. That's a huge problem with people that have been working for many, many years at a job, at a given job. But it's particularly important and resonating for people that were in law enforcement, because they have to readjust their thinking immediately in terms of 24 hours. You have to do a complete 180, and now you're not responsible for anybody except yourself, your wife, family, friends, whomever. That was tough for me to take. And so when I told Sean this, I still tell him this. I'm not sure he or anybody else realize, or perhaps even you, how much you guys kept me sane and together.
Wow.
Because I had some issues. I won't go into them here. This past Tuesday night, I had Scott Brown on, and we were talking about his book, Facing Evil. Well, he faced evil on October 24th of 2014. He was with his partner, Danny Oliver, and pulled into a parking lot in Sacramento. They were on the POP team, which is problem-oriented policing. And the guy, after they made a stop behind this guy's car, came out and just immediately began to shoot at them. And Scott Brown's partner, Danny Oliver, was killed immediately. Wow. Then this guy shot him in the head. Then this guy drove over him and left. He went around the corner to a place called Spanos Court and shot another guy 6 times in the head and neck. That guy lived. He attempted to carjack a car across the street. He went around the corner and then a couple of miles to Arden Park and attempted to carjack from some landscapers their pickup truck. They said they didn't have the keys. He went to another set of landscapers and did, in fact, steal their pickup truck. Drove with his girlfriend up Interstate 80 eastbound, exited at Auburn Boulevard, came across a Placer County Sheriff's Department unit and then a second unit, and then shot and killed a second deputy, a Placer County deputy, a detective, Michael Davis, in the span of about an hour or two later. So 2 law enforcement officers killed, and another citizen seriously wounded. And the guy that was on my show last Tuesday had written a book, Facing Evil, and then essentially went through the living hell he'd experienced for the past 8 years, and in order to help heal, he wrote the book. It began sort of as a journal. And he went through some very bad times.
Wow.
And he, like a lot of other people that get into critical incidents, you could find yourself at the bottom of a bottle, or you could find yourself with drugs, or you could find yourself with ideations of suicide.
Yeah.
And let me just say for me, because I myself had been in a serious critical incident that I have gone into before only one time, and I won't go into here, but someone is not around anymore.
Yeah.
And that and all the other things that I did in 41 years swim around in my brain theater every fucking night. So in 2016, when I retired, it wasn't bad. 2017 got worse. 2018 got worse. So when I tell people that when Scott Brown said that book was therapy, SHR was therapy for me. And I've never said that really until tonight.
Wow.
Giving me something to do, something upon which to focus, was for me then and now extremely important. And when I phrase it that way, I can't, I'll just say it this way. I almost can't emphasize how much this show, doing this, helped me and saved me. So in the past, Ken McCLENTON, when I've told you, really thanks, Ken, for letting me on your show, what I really mean to say is, you're one of the reasons I'm still here today, Ken McCLENTON.
Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, glory to God.
That's how important doing this was and became to me. And so when I say thank you to Sean or Clint or to anybody in the chat room or the people who have been listening, live or in podcast, or who used to correspond with me on email when I was stupid enough to give my email out over the air. Oh, the F and S emails I used to get.
Mm-hmm.
But I cannot tell all of you how important you became to me, and to have met you in 2016 and then continue to interact with you and continue to be my friend. Well, Ken, my friend, you are what I would consider integral in my being here today. I crawled into a bottle many times during my career. I never got into drugs. You could look at my fat ass and see that is not a fucking IV drug abuser right there. That's pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I've had my issues, and I've had my times, and despite all of that, like Scott Brown, I am still here. So it was important to me. And
wow.
I don't...
I'm telling you, BC, that is a message. You just don't know how important that message is tonight. Not only to me, because it's a very humbling thing to be used by God to serve, and to touch lives, not even knowing. I didn't know that. No one else knew that. But God used that particular tool to serve you. And in addition to that, you're touching lives to a lot of people who feel so hopeless at this point, not just because, they left the police force or whatever, but after all of these particular years under COVID and
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.